Good day and welcome to the Barcast. That's right, I'm Salt.
And I'm George.
And we've got...
Nandi.
Hey Nandi, good to have you in here. A lot of people don't know that you're a bar athlete now.
I'm trying and holding a good fight.
we start with Nandi actually, since we have you here. So how did you get involved in bar?
Well, George is my trainer. He trained at Surfside, so he told me to come to the Monday morning class, and that kind of started. But actually, last year I wanted to try it. Me and my dancers, wanted to try it, but we ended up at a rehearsal and it didn't quite work out.
Right.
But I was on the sidelines and wishing that I was out there and trying.
When you watch it from the sidelines, how does it feel? What that look to you?
I want to jump in. Tara, at the same time, if I'm being real, there's a lot of strong people, competitive people. So
you was watching it like, I could get that, or you was watching it like, I know about this.
I want to try.
Right, that's key.
Very much wanted to try. I wanted to be out there. I actually wanted to jump in, but I couldn't. And then I went to Nikita's birthday. Her birthday celebration was a pop-up at one of the courses, and it was a good gauge to see where I was at fitness-wise. It's still completely different, but I could see how my fitness training otherwise would tie into that. But it was fun. So I could encourage a couple friends, and we are doing this. I
want to talk to you about your experience at Nikita's pop-up camp, pop-up workout day, because that was Nikita's birthday. So a lot of y'all guys came out. Was really happy to have you all on the course. Describe that experience, your first real taste of a bar like training session.
I didn't know what to expect. Like, yes, I watch it and I see it from videos, but actually being in it is still a different experience. So I didn't know what was going to come next. I didn't know how much further we had to go. For me, it was about trying to pace myself, even though by the first set of burpees, I was dead.
And it's hard to pace yourself when you don't know how much longer you have to go.
And I still wanted to push through and not give up. But, yeah, I feel like the entire time I cuss Nikita in my head. Love you, but I still cuss you. But I'm glad that you invite me out.
Before that, there's a scale of 1 to 10. Where you would say your fitness was at?
In my head, it was a 6.
In your head, it was a 6.
By doing Barney first, it was like we at a 3. We back down the line, and we need to come up. I haven't
trained for the last few weeks for a bar. Where you at now?
Okay, let's push that down to a 2, and I'm at a 4 now.
Yeah, a 4. So you still feel like you're not up to where you would have been before? Oh, because that was in your head.
Yeah.
But realistically speaking,
there was so much that I was leaving out that I should have been doing more on.
So if you push it down to a 2 and you're at a 4, now you're already twice as fit now as you were.
I feel, I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back. Right. I very much feel a difference. And then even translating that into football, I feel like I can run for a longer time because is after the burst speeds are running here into another
actually
course.
2 of the girls on my team, Amanda and Aranda, they played football on a national level as well, and they were saying the bar training is quite possibly the hardest thing they have ever done.
I agree. Hands down. There's no question about that. I've never carried buckets before in that situation, and I excited to try the container climb and all the other things and use my other skills and try to work that into that. So I'm looking forward to it.
How has the football training helped though?
Okay. To me, the football training will be endurance, but I mean for the container climb, I'm doing it with other people who in dance circles and cheerleading circles, so they know about lifting and stuff like that. So I excited to try those things and apply them to now the bar course. My other female competitor is a footballer as well and an athlete. So, medic,
Is Empress medic that you doing it?
Yeah.
Okay. She's dope.
I convinced her to.
And I for sure nobody ain't getting hurt on that team.
Exactly. I know, right?
It's not for long.
Exactly.
Y'all gonna make it through to the end for sure.
Oh, for sure. That's the important part for us to finish. And if anything, at least we can have fun because I on a team with a bunch of jokers.
Right. Nice. So who is your team?
The other so Empress Medic, Chanel Trotman, Big Up Sports Therapy 101. Clay, Thorn.
Clay
was, Thorn is the other person. He does
He's
his calisthenics.
He could do muscle ups, George.
Exactly. And the other person, Romel, is a dancer, and he also trains with Thorn. So,
right.
Looking forward to team. We haven't been quite together yet. Trying to fix that with the pop up on Saturday to work out all those kinks before we get on course. But looking forward to it.
You had said something. You said that when you started doing the bar training, you found that there were things missing from your fitness. Mm-hmm. For example.
I mean, it's different to me in a gym. Yes, you lift for strength and stuff like that, but no, it's different where I have to apply lifting that bucket and carrying it for a distance, especially when they're tired from coming from doing an exercise and then jumping straight back into another workout. That's a different level of endurance there. Right.
And I think for me, when I plan these things, it's like, we would typically look at certain activities as being endurance activities and other activities as being strength activities.
Yes.
Right.
And you can do that in the gym, but real life isn't like that. So real life, if I have to pick up something heavy and carry it a long way, I'm combining strength with endurance. Right? Yeah. So you're not able to always pick them apart in a real life situation and do them. I mean, you think about our grandmothers and grandfathers and things that would have gone into town, walk town, do the shopping, put the things on the head and walk back with them, So that type of thing is what we're trying to create with BAR. We're trying to make it unpredictable. We're trying to make it a little messy. We're trying to see how people adapt to these situations that are actually more like real life functional movements than the typical well-balanced, precise, pristine environment you would get in a gym, which has its place as well, even in preparing. Yes. But when I put you out in the wilderness, for example, who do I want to be out in the wilderness with? Do I want the guy who's always in the gym, or do I want a bar athlete? And I can choose a bar athlete.
Especially if I was in the wilderness. Yeah. Sure. George, you train Nandi, so tell me a bit about Nandi's personality and her approach to training and what you would say, how that is going to translate to her bar.
Her personality.
Yeah.
Pressure, George. Pressure.
I just want to say that this is a PG show, and therefore I might not be able to express myself fully. But, I think there's something that I've noticed from training athletes, people who've been involved in sport on a competitive level for many years, as opposed to training those persons who might have come to fitness later on in life and might have done so for aesthetic reasons.
Yeah, just to look good.
Yeah. They may not just to look good, but that was one of the primary drivers for them. And then once they got in the gym and they lost some weight, then they started thinking about maybe I run a 5K, maybe I do that bar thing and so on.
Yeah.
And the main difference is in the mental fitness. So whatever I throw at Nandi, like even sometimes I throw an exercise at her and I'm like, okay, you getting tired? And she's like, no, I want to try it. Right. Like she's never defeated. She wants to try it. I can push her as hard as I want. Right. In fact, sometimes I have to be the one who's tamping it down, saying, "Okay, that's enough for today. Let's stop." Because competitive athletes are constantly being thrown in situations where you have to dig deep to stop somebody from scoring a goal. You gotta run back and make a tackle, or you're in a basketball where you gotta run back and make a block. Yeah. You're in a fight and you're tired as hell, and somebody's punching and kicking.
Can't that guard.
You can't say I'm tired like that. So I think athletes have that extra gear, and that's one of the things I've noticed with training, Nandi, for sure.
I actually needed that because I still can't quite motivate myself in the gym. So personally training myself, I would probably cheat myself a whole lot. But if George give me it to do, I can try it.
Right.
Until I can't go anymore. And then I trust that I know he got this covered, so he's not going to make me do something that I'm not ready for.
Right. So you trust the trainer.
Yeah.
So speaking of doing things that you're not ready for, I understand you've been on rope climbs.
I have. I actually got it done on the first try.
Really?
Yeah, they taught me through like the little details and the technique, and I got it done on the first try.
Have you been doing them before?
No, that was the first.
I mean, after.
Oh, yeah.
She's been doing the Monday workout, so rope climbs are in there, and she I was impressed by that, actually. And
again, in rope climb them on the first try, especially, I don't want to be taken, but it's obvious you're a leg athlete, so that means you get the foot technique down, but they're from pure upper body.
Yeah. Like what?
Exactly. Exactly.
I think that comes again from having been thrown in situations where you had to acquire new skills.
Yeah.
And having to listen to coaching. Yeah. And take that coaching and then transfer it into, an actionable thing, right? Exactly, because that's one of the things that I noticed with Nandi as well, is that she wants you to be as intricate with your coaching as you can. Like, come down to the fine details. So some people, when you tell them squat, you give them 2 corrections, and they don't want to hear all these fine things. You could correct Nandi as much as you want. She wants every little detail to improve her performance on whatever activity it is you throw at her.
That's it. I want the best and the most I could get out of it. So tell me everything you could do to get there.
You have a life outside of training, dancing, football, which is like a professional level. You work in a lab.
Doing research at UE, yeah.
Yeah, so is that where that attention to detail comes from a little bit as well? Or you can't get in there and mix it and blow you whole UE, you know?
Right.
Some people may argue that you should.
You are correct. I actually think it comes from dancing, where it started in dancing, because I always wanted to be as close as possible to the teacher as I could be. So every little detail, like paying attention to it, watching where the arm is, the angle that I at, the count that I did, like all those little details, so that I write in the time and I have all the information I need to then apply that to myself. So I kind of take that through with everything else.
That actually makes more sense than the professional life, because really and truly, like me for one, I cannot watch a dance and get the choreography. I do not know how y'all watch a dance. One time, I should be like 5, 6, 7, 8, and bam, bam, bam. And then it's everybody 5, and then bam, bam. All y'all hitting it at the same time. So that's really
it comes with practice. So then that coming to the rope climb, like how they would. I think it was between you and Chad giving me the details and feeding. Have your leg here, make sure the rope is in between, clamp on top, stand up. Then every little detail I push through. So even when I tired now, I apply those and I thinking through to make sure I do every step by step, and I reach the top before I even know it.
I actually have a young lady who loves dancing, who wants to improve her rope climber, and I'm going to let her know that it's like dance. Think of it like a dance. It's just a number of steps being repeated. So once you get those steps down, you repeat them again. The next thing I just say before you know it, you're at the top.
Yep.
And the precision, because you can, and that's the thing I try to get across to the persons who are coming to bar for the first time, especially you guys. The guys can usually muscle up the rope just on pure upper body strength.
Yeah.
But that
or we don't do legs.
Exactly, right? But after 6K, when you are coming to that rope and you don't have the proper technique, how are you going to feel when your arms just carry the Atlas stone? You just do a bucket carry. You had the long log. You had the logs in the forest. You had sandbags. You're climbing over. All these things. And your arms come now and you try to muscle up that rope. It might not be the best thing. So I think just working. And we've seen like relatively small humans. I don't want to like do it by gender, but we've seen relatively small humans who don't really have what you would consider to be huge upper body strength.
Boy.
We've seen them on the rings. We've seen them on the grip rig. We've seen them on the monkey bars. We've seen them on the rope. And largely it's because of proper technique and learning the precision to perform these movements.
Precision really does help. Bar is a whole new world. What other skills have you unlocked, Nandi, since you've been in bar? You do the rope climb. You done any rings, any monkey bars?
Yeah, actually. The rings took me a little longer. Again, you need to be out there to figure it out and to actually know, because doing the rings and gloves, it wasn't working for me. And it was strange for me because I have fairly strong shoulders. Right. And I can at least hold my body weight swinging from like cheerleading or any other sport that I've been, or just going across monkey bars. But I could not get it done in the gloves and I couldn't figure out why. But then I tried it without the gloves and I got through.
You had to get the feel.
I had to actually be in the moment and try it. It looked one way and it looked like, oh yeah, that should be easy. But then actually doing it was something completely different.
So have you been able to do it in gloves since then, or you always do it bare hands?
I do it bare hands.
So that's something you gotta remember on the day.
Yeah, I got worked out.
Right.
Where you need the gloves, where you don't need them.
So you tell me that your team gonna be at the pop up this weekend.
Yeah.
But you tell me all guys here the pop up will be gone, but at the pop up this weekend, working out strategy. Tell me a bit about that. How's that group chat going?
Like I said, anything. At least we are going to have fun because we're jokers.
Yeah.
Right now it's just been gas and people trying to gear at themselves and question often, what did we sign up for?
Right.
But we just taking it step by step till we get there. I feel like Saturday is going to show us a lot, and then from there we could probably start strategizing what would be the best way for it. But because we haven't been together and out there at the same time, kind of still trying to piece information right now.
Y'all registered already?
I'm going to finish that today.
I like your approach, though. I like the whole approach of, even though you guys are doing the competitive wave, I like the whole fun approach because
I love it.
Yeah, because I think as bar develops more and more as a sport, certain people will show proficiency, and it's going to become more and more competitive at the top.
Yes.
Right. But like I try to make the analogy between a Chicago Marathon or London Marathon and bar. So when Kipchoge goes to the line, there's maybe 5 men in that marathon that have a chance of winning, right? But there's still 30,000 people behind them. Yes. You got people who are good club runners who are looking to run under 4 hours. And you got men in Mickey Mouse costumes who can run 6 to 8 hours who are just out there trying to raise money for charity, right? Yeah. And everybody needs to find their place within the event. So people will look at it and they're like, man, they don't do 9, I can win. Well, you ain't beating Kipchoge. Right? You know what I mean? So by that same extent, if you and your team are now coming together and you're not 4 elite athletes, you're probably not beating obstacles. You're probably not beating outdoor fitness, etc. So you set your own goal within the event. Like a club runner is going to say, I want to run sub 4. A new bar athlete that's fit might say, well, I want to be in the top 10. Yeah. Or, if it's a big event, I want to make day 2. Yeah. You have to still find a way, I think, to find what is enjoyable for you, even within a competitive environment. It doesn't have to be completely fun. We can run 6 hours on the course. It can be competitive and fun at the same time if you manage your expectations and you have goals that you set for yourself or your team. I think you can do it.
Is that what you would be saying sometimes in training, George, which would be, even if you're racing against yourself,
absolutely
set your goals.
Correct.
Yeah, I like that approach as well. I think, I always tell you my strategy for this year just to make day 2. That's what the rash guards. It's setting and managing expectations. Challenge yourself, though.
Correct. Mine is to finish. Ours as a team is to finish.
And trust me, just finishing is
a major accomplishment.
When you feel it, you can feel it, you win. When you get that, when you finally get one of these finishes.
I know.
You can feel it, you win. When registration open until, George?
Registration is going to open until the Tuesday prior to the event. So I think where are we now? Today's
the 6th.
Today's the 6th. So
we're looking at the 17th then.
Correct. Yeah, registration open until the 17th, and this is so we can get everybody in. We can figure out how we're going to do the waves because obviously we have some COVID considerations this year, and we're going to have to limit the number of registrations over the 4 races. 4 races being obviously the Amarone Singles, the ICBL Open Wave, the Republic Bank Corporate Challenge, and the ICBL Competitive Wave. So we would, it's not a year where we can say we're going to just take 60, 80 teams and we just have them run the whole day because we can't have that kind of density in place. So we're limiting registration. So if you want to be a part of this event, get online now, register. Even if you don't have your full team as you would like it, get that registration in, secure your place so you can be a part of this incredible event.
Someone messaged me yesterday and said she's trying to figure out which day is the better day to go.
From a spectator perspective?
From a spectator perspective. So remind us now what's happening on each day.
Right.
So that people that listen, they can pick which day if they're not coming to both. I know why are you not coming to both, but I guess that was get children. Got children. Okay.
So you can actually, we're going to put on sale relatively soon. By the time the podcast come out, they'll be on sale. You can get them from the ambassadors. You can get them online. We're going to sell bands for the entire weekend. Right. And it's going to be one cost. So if you come Sunday, you might as well come Saturday because it's going to be the same cost.
Okay, right.
Whether you pay $35 on the Saturday, it will still be the same $35 on the Sunday. And obviously, we're not trying to make any. We're just trying to manage the toilets and the this and the next to just offset those costs because PEG has to get a little something as well. Right. So they will be available through the ambassadors. We'll give Nandi some because everybody's following Nandi. People like to be behind her all the time. I ain't sure why.
That's the one advantage. If you go in front, right, guy too, Nandi. If your team get in front, they got a lot of men with it. Don't pass that.
Listen, party game.
Party game's hard.
Yeah, y'all get in for sure.
Strategy.
Get in front, Nandi.
So the Saturday morning, we're going to start with the Amarone Trust Singles, and that's going to be an individual event. Again, there'll be fun runners in that event, but there'll be elite athletes as well looking to qualify for world championships and become the next individual bar championship, male and female. We come back in the afternoon, and it's going to be the open wave of the ICBL Team Challenge. So that will be Saturday afternoon. Now, again, we're trying to limit numbers. It's possible that we might have 2 waves of the competitive to get the elimination, but I'm trying to see if we can avoid that, and we just have 1 wave of the competitive, which would take place on this Sunday afternoon.
Right.
So Sunday we'd come back, and just before lunch it would be the corporate wave.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that it helps to build some spectators for the elites. So the corporate wave comes just before lunch. When they finish, they go and have some lunch at the restaurant at Peg, and then they come back out on the course and watch the elites vie for the championships. Again, if you're looking for people to root for or against, obviously Obstacles has won this event 3 times running. Yeah. It'd be good to root against them.
All 4.
Big shout out to Stuart Maloney. Again, Stuart is one of the big reasons why this event still takes place now, because from the first event, when it finished, he expressed his support. And Semtal's being a sponsor of this event.
It was like, hold the prize money.
Exactly. Put it back into the event. Yeah. He helped us build in the other stores.
I was up there like, you are a good man.
You're a good man, sure. Thank you.
And obviously their team is comprised a little differently this time around. But again, big shout out to Dominic Marshall and Kim Seeley, who would have helped with those previous victories. It'd be interesting to see.
The Hall of Fame.
They are, yeah. It'd be interesting to see if now with a new team, if Obstacles can replicate that success as well. Yeah. And then there's some other teams all through the field that I said before, racing for different reasons. There's some teams out there just want to finish, like Nandi's team, and there's some teams that want to be top 10, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to be interesting to watch. Bring out the friends, bring out the family. I mean, it's an incredible event to watch just because it's so different, it's so exciting. You can go out there and you can either be like the villain and you're rooting for people to fail obstacles, or you're out
there are some people like that, yeah. Or every time you get to the tire wall, they say like, well, here, feel.
Or you go out there and you encourage your athletes, you give them a hand when they're successful, and you just give that a little energy to get through the course. I'm really looking forward to the course this year. We've set up the Peg a little bit differently, I think, to make it a little bit more spectator friendly.
Nice.
So a lot of the action is going to be centered close to the restaurant and close to the new bar that we've built. So there's plenty. You can sit down comfortably. You can see the start. You can see the athletes come by, and you can see the finish as well. So even if you never left that one position, you'll see quite a bit. Yeah, but I feel like you should wander around Peg. It's a beautiful property, and there's going to be some nice action on the obstacles all around the farm.
I'm going to tell you listening right now, if you want someone to root against, you can look for whatever team Teague James is on, right. Teague RX on Instagram. He's the one to root against. Right. He's doing the open wave, right?
I think he's doing the open wave, yeah. We might be out there for a few hours. So we might have to send everybody else first, have T go last, come back on Sunday morning and clean him up off the course.
Yeah, he's doing that with the team open wave.
Correct, yes. Yeah.
We talk a bit about that, though, because we already said you can be in the competitive, you get the rash guard, I think that's the one main thing for me, for being in the competitive. But open wave is fun. You don't have to be able to complete the obstacles. And that is definitely where the fun is at. That's where I could see, as you always say, the thing growing, because there are some people now who might be like Nandi last year who be like, I want to try it, but I ain't sure if I could get up that rope. Come on, try it. No?
Yeah, and again, for me, the marathon analogy, the open wave is for the guy in the Mickey Mouse costume running for charity. Right? And you can do that in your office. You're like, people, I want to go and do this bar thing. I want you all to sponsor me. If I finish, I want X, Y, and Z come out and support. Yeah. Fly your own colors, right? Because you're not wearing the bar shirt. There's no bar race shirt in the open wave.
Right.
So if you have a company, if you have an organization, if you have a brand that you want to expose, by all means, come out and wear it, right? So this is like the guy in the Mickey Mouse costume. We're going out there, we're running around, we're having fun. And previously, one of the main challenges for people was finding 2 male and 2 female like-minded people to do the competitive event. Because the open wave doesn't impact the prizes, comprise your team however you want, right? So it could be 4 males, it could be 4 females, 4 people from work, 4 people from the football team, 4 people from the netball team.
Encourage them.
Yeah, absolutely. Put it together however you want. Come out there and enjoy it. If you go on the course, for example, and you go crossing monkey bars, you're like, what? I get crossing monkey bar things. I want to try it again. Go and try it again.
Get your phone.
Exactly. Let me make sure you get on video this time and just go out there and enjoy it, because nothing else like it happens on the island. COVID has made 2020 miserable.
Yeah.
People have been training. People need some sort of avenue to express their fitness. And I think that, we're outdoors, it's on Peg. There's just so many good things about this event this year that we want people to come out and be a part of.
For sure. Nandi, how you feeling now after talking? It's good to go.
We doing this, guys. We got this. I'm encouraged. I'm pumped up. I'm excited. A little terrified. But, I'm ready. Also looking forward to that song, because let me say it on camera. To do bar, I bargained a song from Salt.
Yes. I told her that if she does the bar, I'm going to do the song.
So the song is already written and it's not performed.
I can write the song and then running behind Nandi.
I wonder what that song will be about.
Singles, I'm a running trust. We can't forget them. They're a big part of the singles event. We want people to make sure and get their hashtags on. We want to put the hashtag first.
Hashtag Race for a Cause.
Race for a Cause.
Again, on your main page, not your stories, because the story will disappear. Go out there, post any picture you want. It could be bar related or not. Hashtag Race for a Cause. Tag Barbados Adventure Race. And if you have a preference, select the charity that you would like your hashtag contribution to go to. Every hashtag is $25 Barbados dollars. Hashtag. You can do multiple hashtags. Let's see how much money we can raise and get towards these charities. The charities are Barbados Diabetes Foundation, Heart and Stroke Foundation, and the Substance Abuse Foundation. Once again, big shout out and thanks to David Sumrick and the Amarone Charitable Trust for sure.
Yeah, there were a few more things that I need to talk about here, but one thing I want to know is all the obstacles set in your mind already for the 21st and 22nd?
More or less. I sat down and I listed everything that I could possibly throw at the event this year. And there's some obstacles that I want to have in because I think from a spectator perspective, they're like really visually impactful. I have a new obstacle that I've designed that is going to be crazy if we get it pulled off. It's going to look incredible.
Right. It's going to look intimidating?
It's going to look intimidating, but it's going to be fun to do. Like once you get up there, it's going to be super fun to do. I think that's one of the obstacles that people in the open wave can do 5 or 6 times. Right. Seriously. Yeah. But more or less, I have it set. I'm going to be doing the final course design over the next week or so. Once we get through the pop-up at Bushy Park, we're just going to go to Peg and start building out.
Right.
So yes, there are a couple obstacles that we didn't have last November that I'd like to include again if we can, and that was the traverse ropes, because that was one of the more popular obstacles.
The container traverse.
And we might be able to do it. Obviously, getting 2 40-foot containers into Peg might be a little challenging, so we might have to configure something else to get that traverse. But I feel like, remember when we did that first event, it was mostly walls and carries.
Yeah.
So the container traverse was something that was looked more like a traditional obstacle course race you'd see anywhere in the world. Obviously now we've added the rigs and it looks more like World OCR or Spartan or whatever. Yeah. But I'd like to get that one back in for sure.
Yeah, so you mentioned with the open wave teams, come out, get some fun, have some fun with the team, and everybody could just come and do it. But some people might be thinking, they're not fit at 2.
Right.
But first of all, you don't need to be at 8, 9, or 10 to do the open wave. You don't need to be at 8, 9, or 10 to do bar, to attempt it at least.
Correct.
But you wrote an article recently, is it on BarbadosAdventureRace.com?
Correct, yes.
How to get fit for bar in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, yeah. I mean, obviously, you're probably not going to win the elite wave if you're just starting out, having done nothing. But if you have a relatively baseline fitness, you play a sport, you do a little scrimmage on the weekend with the boys, or you're in the gym, and you're thinking about getting as fit as you can for bar, then you start by running every day, right? Now, when you read studies, it says, after 6 weeks, so improve VO2 max by this. Right? It's not like you just train for 6 weeks, nothing happens, and then at the end of week 6, suddenly you're fitter. Right. It's incremental, right? So from the time you do that first session, your body starts to adapt to it. Your body starts to adapt to it with the hope that if it's subjected to that stress again, you can cope with it a little better. So get out and run every day. If you can't run for 30 minutes, run walk. Try to get up to 40, 45 minutes if you can. 2 sessions a week strength training is enough.
Right.
Multi-joint movements, low reps. Try not to do your strength around the same time as your cardio. And then the skills. Learning is one of those things that happens when you're sleeping, oddly enough.
Right.
So there's a guy called Daniel Kahneman. You ever heard of him? He wrote a book called Thinking Fast and Slow, and that book changed my life. When you do something that's challenging, your brain is trying to figure it out. And then you go to sleep. And while you're asleep, your brain makes all these connections. That's why you just go and you try something today. You're failing, and then you come back, and the first time you try it, you get it.
Right.
Because while you're asleep, your brain is starting to figure out how to cope with the stress the next time you encounter it.
Right.
So I see people on the rigs and they're struggling and they're getting frustrated. No, just do what you can, do as much as you can, leave it, go home, come back the next day.
Right.
So you don't want to be wearing out your hands and getting cutting.
Shoulders.
Yeah, your shoulders now, like spending 5 hours on the rig because you feel you only got 2 weeks. Spend 20, 30 minutes, go home and sleep, come back the next day, try it again. I guarantee for most of the things, if you have good technique, by day 3, day 4, you're going to be starting to get them for sure.
You've seen that happen several times, even with the quote-unquote elites, the bar tribe, I should say.
Right,
when you set up a new obstacle in a new training block, every week people will be feeling it until the third
like week 4, week 3 or 4, yeah. And I, again, like, there's this, YouTube is out there. Google as many of these different things as you can. See how different people approach them. I like people to try to figure out some of these things out themselves. Everybody literally is different. So my limb length ratio might be different to Nandi's, for example. It might be better for me.
She got bigger glutes.
She got slightly
I don't know
bigger
about that. No.
You got bigger calves.
You want a glute off here? Or?
Sure. I think you can win, George.
I don't think we should do the Wuk Up competition.
You can't do it. I mean, she want to do an ab off. She got the crop top today.
The abs were here this morning, and then they
bad man on Wuk Up though. Just so you know.
Okay.
I feel you should use that as the clip that we put up.
Right.
Maybe put it on Instagram.
Bad man on Wuk Up.
But how did they even get to that?
Yeah, sure.
So come out November 21st and 22nd. Be a part of this event. Don't take yourself too seriously. Have some fun. If you're one of the guys who are looking to be competitive, good luck. I want to see I want to see a tough, fair competition. I want a competitive event. We're going to try and capture as much of the content as possible and create something that people can see afterwards. Bring the family, bring your friends, bring your supporters, get the pom-poms out. If you're just learning about bar for the first time, come out and watch. And let's continue to grow this sport on the island for people who are just doing it for fun, as well as I honestly think that we have a couple athletes who could go to major OCR events in the world and podium.
And do well, yeah.
And podium. I think Darren could podium probably not the elite wave yet, but he could definitely podium the age groupers at Spartan.
Yeah.
I think we have the future of the sport coming through right now in people like Jade.
Yeah.
Jade, once she starts to become more obstacle proficient, like all the rest of us, we're like, well, I mean, I'm probably oldest of the barbarians, right?
Yeah.
We're like late 30s, 40s, and so on. And right now, she just isn't there yet to beat like your Amaris's and your Danielles and so on. But give her 3 or 4 years, and I think she's going to be pushing them.
The age of the elite athlete is going to drop in bar rapidly over the next 4 to 5 years. Where you're going to see the average age of the athlete dropping down from late 20s, early 30s, down to early 20s. When those people first come out of the inter-school sports, kind of vibe, because it's a lot of running as well. But their brains are young, their brains make these connections. Not that old people can't learn, but we also got a bit of a fear. We got children, we got insurance.
I got to go work tomorrow.
We got to work tomorrow, can't work back. They're still at UE, right?
I'm glad you've mentioned this because we have the strength and conditioning scholarship, which is also sponsored by the Amarone Trust and Fund. And we have 2 athletes who are currently on that sponsorship. Aaron Spencer, Griffith medalist in the 400 hurdles. And then we have...
he's a good guy too, Aaron.
Aaron's really good. He's a leader as well. Huh?
Yeah.
And then we have, I can't remember the youngster's name, 100-meter runner.
Is it Mel?
Yeah. Trains with Tamal as well.
I know exactly.
I feel embarrassed that
Julian
Ford. Julian Ford. Sorry, Julian.
Yeah.
And the 2 of them were finishing up their session the other day, and they just jumped on the rig and tried the rings and tried the traverse bar.
Yeah.
And now Harston College is entering a team.
Really?
Yes. Harston College is entering a team in a competitive wave. I've decided to sponsor them into the event.
Right, because they're school children.
And obviously I went to Harston College as well.
And they pay petty fees.
Exactly. At Harston College, then, I was there teaching as well, so Harston College was good to me.
That was a strong team.
So like with the 2 of them, and they go and find 2,
two ladies from the school.
I would like that man to come and beat everybody, just to prove that Harston College is the best school in the world.
Right.
In this conversation, I just respectfully step back.
But yeah, if they come and get that there, so they get after their training, they got the rig and the traverse, right?
Yeah, so they only need, like I said, they at that age, your brain is so pliable. It learns so quickly, and they're fast. They're fearless. They're fearless.
Y'all give me ideas of more people to encourage to come.
No, because truly, as I get to where I am now in my bar career, I'm looking now to bring in people because we want to take this here international, and I think that those kinds of athletes. But once you're not going. I'm not saying these guys are not going to go to the Olympics, but once you're not training for the Olympics or training for world championships or anything, you could diversify, like for another sport that you could really be a force to be reckoned with here. And I think that's exactly the direction that Jade is heading in. Right. And hopefully we get some more athletes, because we produce a lot of quality athletes here in Barbados. Necessarily not going to go to Olympics, not going to be IAAF competitors, but you could be an OCR athlete.
Absolutely. I think the sport internationally is young enough that we could start to get in on that upward trajectory of the sport before it gets away from us. And all you need somebody who's got the time to train, you need access to some of these skills, and you need somebody who's just willing to put in the work with a little bit of coaching. You don't need, for example, you don't need to be like golf. If you want to play golf, you need a lot of money because you need
or Formula One.
Exactly, right? You know, your go-karting or even tennis, you need 10 rackets and so on. That's why I think for, as a kind of segue, like boxing, track and field, obstacle course racing, those are the sports in Barbados that I would like to see more emphasis being placed on, because you really don't need much. Exactly, you don't really need a whole lot of resources as far as developing the talent in those areas, for sure.
All right, before we go, I said Saturday the 14th, you're going to have a clinic almost like for the rig and that sort of stuff, some coaching?
Well, actually, we're calling it a workshop. So it's going to be a 2-hour workshop. It's going to be myself and Coach Stompy from Outdoor Fitness. And we're going to basically give teams and individual like the blueprint for how to approach bar. We're going to talk about the singles. We're going to contrast if this is your first bar compared to if you're a seasoned bar athlete. We're going to give you some tips on your carries, your walls, your rigs. And we hope that by the time we finish that workshop, people feel a lot more confident. If they haven't registered, then they register on the spot, and it gives people a few things to think about to improve their performance on the day. Because even if you're doing open wave, you want to do an obstacle race. You don't want to do a burpee race.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't want to be just out there doing burpees all the time because you can't complete the obstacles. And you're going to have much more fun, I think, coming through and accomplishing these things. And then we haven't actually set the time for it yet. Follow the page, bar_race on Instagram, Barbados Adventure Race on Facebook. So we'll set the time, but that's going to be the Saturday before bar, Saturday the 14th. And by that time, most of the course might already be built out. So we can actually take some of these obstacles and walls and do a practical application on how to approach them as well.
All right, I guess that's all the time we have for this week's Barcast. I want you to join us next week for sure. We're going to talk about how not to break down before bar.
I want to do one thing. I'm going to give Nandi's followers, I'm going to give Nandi my promo code over the next week.
Oh, geez, that's all fair.
So if you follow Nandi and you want to do bar, I'm going to give Nandi my promo code, which is SS1, over the next week. SS1. So anybody who signs up and uses that promo code.
The first S stand for stinking.
I'm sure that's
Surfside one probably.
But don't feel like we get you no money. We're just tracking how many people who's follow you.
Make a few impressions.
Exactly, that's what we want.
Do it for me, guys, though. It's a step. It's a baby step, you know.
Correct. Right. So SS1, if you follow Nandi, sign up. BarbadosAdventureRace.com. Remember, select a charity if you're doing the individual event. Make sure you select the right event. You don't want to go and sign up for competitive if you're doing the open. So select the right one on the team page. Look around the Instagram page, and we look forward to seeing you November 21st and 22nd. Also to Nandi's followers, don't forget the hashtag. Y'all can be involved as well.
Yes.
Use the hashtag Race for a Cause, and let's get these $25 donations in it through the Amarone Trust. Nandi, I want to thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, and you were a great guest, and I'm looking forward to joining you in some training sessions before the 21st, as well as seeing you on the course on the 21st and 22nd.
So you're going to run on and leave me?
Trust me, we've talked about this before, right?
I'll see you at the start and maybe at the end.
So I would go home and bed before you ever finish.
Yeah.